We're now going to look at the process of lodging a defect from the surveyor's perspective on site. You'll see back at the head office view here, using the web browser access to the Novade data over the cloud, I've actually set the commercial project to have effectively 0 lodged defects. So we can look at the whole process from lodging a defect, acknowledging that, turning it into work in progress, issuing it to a subcontractor then picking that up on the mobile device, tending to the defect, reporting that as a closed defect, and then the head office then recognising that and closing the defect or closing the case. So that's the process we're going to be going through right now. So on my mobile phone, I have installed the Novade applications, the native application, which we'll find on my Novade apps. And I'm currently logged in on here as an inspector. So I'm now going to assume I'm on site and I'm going to go and lodge a defect as a surveyor on the commercial project. So I'm going to select the zone I'm working on. I'm going to say we're on level LG, lower ground, and I want to simply lodge a defect. I can also look at the plan whilst I'm here, just to refresh myself. So we can zoom in and out, perfectly easy on the mobile device. This, by the way, is an Apple iPhone that I'm using. And I want to go and lodge a defect. So back to where we were, and lodge defect. We're going to go for C14. I'm going to say we've got a problem with the door. Doesn't open or close properly. I'm going to take a photo. The use photo. And I'm going to red line up the latch in this case. Say there's an issue with the latch sticking. I add a comment and literally just type in here, latch sticking, needs replacing. Save that. Okay. Come down through here. Is it a high priority defect? Yes, it is. And which one of our subcontractors is responsible for rectifying the defect? Well, clearly it's not going to be the electrical subcontractor. It will in fact be the carpentry subcontractor. And that is the simple process of lodging a defect out on site using a mobile device, be that an iPhone or an Android-based device. So if I now go back to my sort of home screen on the mobile device, I'll see, if I look at my cases, I've now allocated a new case with a defect in, and we can just see all that information right here. Okay, so we've got the details very simply in front of us at all times. So if we now go back to the head office view, so I should just minimize my phone and go back to the head office view and go back into the dashboard. We'll now see that we have received from site, from one of the surveyors, a new defect. And we can then look into that case and accept that as a case may be, and then issue that to a subcontractor. So we can simply click on there. We see immediately, and this has all been synchronized over the cloud as we've been speaking, the information that's come through, when it was logged by, where it is, the inspector, and what the actual issue is. Latch needs replacing, and there immediately is the photograph that we took a few seconds ago. So effectively all we do now as the QA department is to accept that as a defect So we confirm that. And say OK. So that now has moved into, if you note here, from a new case to work in progress. So again, if I just go back to my dashboard, we'll see we've now gone into work in progress and work in progress. So basically that's now ready to be issued to a contractor. So if we look here, carpentry subcontractor, we can see, well, you can have a number of views here. With open defects, there is the carpentry subcontractor. So if we look into that, we then have the same information available. And we're also able to, if required, as I showed you earlier on, export this directly to a PDF, which has all the information on the carpentry subcontractor's details, the project, the location, what the issue is, and what needs to be done. Latch sticking needs replacing, a visual identification of the defect. So that has now been, if the subcontractor is using the Novade application, automatically sent to the subcontractor. So if we go back to our dashboard view, that will still show as a work in progress. I'll now come back to my phone application, where I will log out as the inspector. Log out. And I will now log in effectively as the carpentry subcontractor or any given trade subcontractor on site. Now signing in as the carpentry subcontractor, and you'll see immediately on my actions list I have one new action. So if I pick up my actions, we can see immediately we've got a problem with a door on C14. I again can view the plan just to refresh my memory if I've not been to that site for a while, zoom in and out to identify the location and what the details are. So effectively, we know we've got an issue with the door. It's a high priority defect, so I need as a subcontractor to get on and sort this situation out. So I'm going to literally put a comment in, new latch, new heavy duty latch, let's say, duty latch fitted. Save that, and I'm going to take a photo of the fact that I've actually done that. And use photo. And then very simply, all I do as a subcontractor is press the complete button. And that will automatically, again, as soon as I have access to the web, will synchronize back up to head office, where they'll then see that the subcontractor has completed the required works to rectify the defect. So it's going to minimize that, pop back to the head office view, and have a quick refresh of my dashboard. And if we come down and look at cases, still in work in progress. You can see that it's being issued as before. go to contractors, and then with completed defects, carpentry subcontractor, completed. If we look here, we see the item completed today, and we can see the photograph, etc. I took out. So we have the whole process here. So when it was lodged by the surveyor, when it was confirmed by quality control as a defect that needed to be rectified, who it was issued to, and when it was completed. So the latch needed sticking, needs replacing, issued to the subcontractor via the mobile device, new heavy duty latch fitted, and the photographic evidence to support the works carried out on site. So that is the whole loop. We then come back to here. To our cases on the project. We see it's now work in progress and all defects completed. So we then, from our perspective at head office, just simply complete the case. And now moved into completed. So if we go back to our dashboard, we'll see it's a completed case awaiting final closure. So that might be signed off by a manager within the QA department. So if we go back to here, completed cases to close, I will then close that case. And this could also be set up so that you have an internal digital signature, of course, and done. So therefore, that is the whole process from end to end. So if we go back to the dashboard now, we have no defects at all on this project. And just to recap, we started at this point. We lodged a defect using a mobile device as a site surveyor. That was then accepted internally back at head office as a defect that needed rectification and confirmed. Issued to a subcontractor one of two ways, either email by exporting as a PDF of all the relevant information, or via the subcontractor picking up the defect on their mobile device on site, attending site, rectifying the defect, and then logging that as a completed defect, which automatically comes back to the head office dashboard, where it is then accepted as completed by the QA team. So that is the whole process of managing defects using Novade Quality.